Welcome to your first workout of the Lenten Challenge. So this workout is what I call level 1, meaning it doesn't really require any equipment. The moves are very basic and you can modify them to make them work for you. So if you haven't exercised before, or it's been a long time since you have exercised and you're really just trying to get back into it, this is going to be a good place to start. So the workout calls for 3 sets of 10 repetitions of 3 different exercises, plus a time spent in a plank. So the first exercise is the push-up. So you'll come down on all fours, okay? And if you're a beginner, you're going to stay on your knees. Either way, we definitely want to, instead of leaving our hips back here, we want to drop the hips. Nice tightness here in the abdominals and some tightness on the glutes. Our wrists are underneath our shoulders, our fingertips face forward. And I want you to start to drop your chest slowly to the floor, bringing your elbows back and a little bit closer to the body. So instead of flaring our elbows out at a 90-degree angle, we're going to bring our elbows to the back, go down as low as you can, and still come back up to the top. Okay, so maybe this is your range of motion right here, as long as you're keeping your back flat and not sagging. Okay, or maybe you can come all the way down and come all the way back up. Okay, so those are your push-ups. If you want to get them a try on your toes, that's fine, but we need to make sure the entire body moves together, all the way down, and all the way up. Okay, the next move is the squat. So it's a great exercise to develop leg strength. So we're going to start with our feet a little bit wider than our hips, toes facing forward or slightly out. We start the exercise by sitting the hips back and then bending the knees. So if you haven't squatted before, it might be a good idea to have a chair behind you. I'll give you a good target to try to sit your butt all the way down that far, because think about it, anytime we get in and out of a chair, we're really squatting, okay? But this is going to be a more controlled movement. So we stick the hips to the back, sit back, 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 back. If we have a chair, we're not going to completely relax. We're going to tap our bottom to the chair, then a big drive through the heels, and stand back up. Okay, so once again, sit the hips back. It's going to keep the weight in the hips and off of the knees, which sometimes people say their knees hurt when they're squat. That's usually because they lead with their knees and all the weight is here instead of leading with the hips and sitting back. I also want to make sure that my knees are tracking out over my toes, that I don't get lazy and let them drift in. So I really want to engage the outer thigh muscles to keep these knees tracking over the toes. So once again, you have 10 squats, tapping down to a chair, or if you don't think you need a chair, you're going to come down, trying to get your hips down right by the knees and then back up. So 10 squats. Then we have a hip hinge, which is a great exercise for the lower back, the hips and glutes and hamstrings. This time, toes line up right underneath your hips, facing forward. It's a little bend in the knee and then all this bend in the hip. You're going to ride your fingers down to about the middle of your shin. Notice how my back is nice and straight and my hips are behind my heels. I have a really nice stretch right here on the hamstrings, and then I just stand up. So I bend my knees a little bit, send the hips to the back, and keep my back nice and flat. If I round my back in this position, I'm going to lose all this tension in the hamstrings. So if you're not feeling anything here in the hamstrings, you might want to just lift that chest, kind of roll that tailbone, and see if you can feel that stretch. Okay, so you have 10 hip hinges. We're taking these nice and slow. So down for a 1 and 2, and up 1 and 2. So that's the hip hinge. The final piece of this is the plank. So you're going to set your timer and see if you can hold a plank for maybe 20 seconds. Okay, so our basic plank setup is, we'll start, if you're very new, I would start on with, just like we are on the push-up. Okay, and once again, on the knees and just holding this position. So trying to keep the neck nice and aligned by looking down at the floor in front of my fingertips. Holding for 20 seconds, make sure I don't have any sagging here or sagging here. So everything is nicely engaged. I've tightened up all the muscles and holding. A little bit more advanced. I'm going to be up on my toes, same position. My ear is in line with my shoulder in line with my hip, knee, and ankle. If I want to make this even more challenging, I can come down on my forearms, okay, either on my knees, I'm struggling with this chair, or up on my toes. And holding that for 20 seconds. And I want to do that 2 to 3 times, depending on your fitness level, resting as needed. So have fun with it.